Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your rather painful services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very well, or at least better than me. As many of you know, my mother, Big Kilt Mama, passed away. Right, there'll be a video tribute to her coming up very soon. Now, we've been clearing the house for a sale, which apparently we've already got an offer on. Unbelievable. So yesterday, me and my brother and other members and friends of the family were all helping to clear all the stuff out of the house that I grew up in. And I was just in a US cavalry vest and my kilt. Hair was swishing everywhere and ferrying to the big white van. I became White Van Kilt-Man. That should be my Indian name. Bits of furniture, beds, bookcases, shelves, chest of drawers, other units, boxes and boxes of stuff, just stuff, big stuff to go to the tip. And I was leaping around like a gazelle, running out. I can manage the whole thing myself. And you've got, again, like this house, 5 floors that you're going up and down. So you're angling stuff over the tops of the banisters and the balustrades. I'll catch it down. I'll tip it over and I'll run underneath and I'll catch it as well. So I was doing all this, and I did a couple of runs. And once you get to the tip, you open the back of the van, and I'm leaping out, dragging all these things out, and I'll do all this, and like over you go into the tip. All these massive big skips, the skips from the tips, and my God, when we got home, I realised I've put me back out. Oh no! Now, all of you at some point have put your back out. And if you haven't, you will do. And you'll also know that if you're going to put your back out, make sure it's the top part of your back you put out. It doesn't hurt as much, and it's a much quicker recovery. Oh no, that's not what I did. No. Right down the base of my spine, more towards the right, your lumbar region. Jesus Christ, it hurts. I've got to be honest. I've had numerous injuries in my time. Numerous! And I'm sure I'll have many, many more. But the shrieking pain, and knowing that you've done it, and knowing it's only going to get worse and worse for a while. I was able to sleep on it. That was aided and abetted by the fact that, for medicinal purposes only, of course, I met one of my mates and we had a lot of whiskey last night in the local saloons. So I was able to sleep all right, but getting out of bed, that was a manoeuvre and a half. And not only that, I'm getting shooting pains in my right hip as well, which is all connected, obviously, from the whole twist and pivot mistake that I made. And this hand, from gripping loads of stuff and like manhandling things, that's now got rather ferocious pins and needles in it. Well, there's a clear sign that I ain't no spring chicken no more. I'm getting older myself. God damn it. I never thought it'd happen. So the aches and pains, the things you think you can do, don't worry about this. And I'm all like, because we're coming out of the house and had to go down the road to where the white van was. So everyone's like watching this crazy dude in a kilt and a vest, hoisting much bigger oddments and bizarre furniture, you know. What's he doing? Isn't he Kilt-Man? Yes. Oh dear, yeah. Well, regretting it now, aren't I? But it had to be done. So anyway, folks, I am now once again bedecked in cavalry regalia, and the reason for that is I have watched the full 6 episodes of the outstanding Western drama, retribution, revenge, and romance sweeping epic, The English, which was on the BBC, and it's coming to Amazon Prime. It's a BBC and Amazon co-production. And it's done by a guy called Hugo Blick, who's done a few other things as well. And Hugo Blick is actually British. He created this series, the 6-part series, wrote it, directed it, produced it. He is the mover and shaker of The English. And it's also produced by its main star, Emily Blunt, the ravishing, gorgeous Emily Blunt. And he was outstanding in this. And it's a great, not revisionist Western. It evokes all the myths of the Old West, but also tells the reality of and the hardship of frontier life. 1890, you've had pretty much, the American Indian Wars are over. Lots of Indians still exist, and there's lots of racial tension, obviously, and there's still tit-for-tat sparring taking place. But Hugo Blick creates this mythical landscape, very, very much inspired by the likes of two things, mainly Sergio Leone and the spaghetti westerns, and also the likes of Tarantino to a degree, with these bizarre little asides of weird characters and weird situations and dialogue. Lots and lots of dialogue. So what's the story? I am not going to give too much away of this because I would urge you all to watch it. If you're a fan of the Western genre, you're going to love this. And if you love tragic romances and just tremendous character-driven drama with lots of elliptical storytelling and the unraveling of mysteries and the revelations and realizations of how things come together and how certain characters' paths are going to cross. And it was inevitable because it was all set in motion many years before. And all these disparate characters are going to come together. Not everyone's going to survive. But it's if you're a fan of really well-told stories with really three-dimensional characters and great, witty asides, sudden brutality and violence, uber shocks left, right and centre, but a remarkable central duo of performances, which I'll come on to. You're going to lap this up. I adored every moment. 6 episodes, folks, just 6 episodes. I can tell you now that it's unlikely there'll be any more seasons of this. So you can do it in one nice little binge. You've done the lot. And you'll want to, because this show, you need to watch it all. And the way events conspire to come together. Anyway, Cornelia Locke, played by Emily Blunt, who is an English woman, has come to the wild frontier, Oklahoma and Wyoming, to avenge the death of her son, her 13-year-old son. She wants to get the man that killed him. So, yeah, you're thinking, oh, it's that old sort of chestnut. It's revenge. But it's how this comes together and how the death of the son actually happened. I'm going to have to be very careful here. But she's a stranger in a strange land. And she will, because she's carrying a lot of money with her, this is the first episode, she will encounter rogues, assassins, murderers, rapists, bushwhackers, German immigrants who can barely speak any English, lots of Indians, lots of bad people, mainly white bad people. And she will have to form an attachment with an ex-army Pawnee scout called Eli Whip. His name, he's got many names, he's got many Indian names, but Eli Whip is the name he was given because he was so good with ropes. This is during his days in the army. And he's a Pawnee, and he's played by Chasky Spencer. Oh God, now this guy, sweet Jesus, he's blown me away. I hadn't seen him before. He's been in many things now. He's a genuine Native American. He's Lakota Sioux, and spent most of his life growing up on reservations in Montana. Wonderful actor though. He's been in, I'm sure he was a werewolf in one of the Twilight movies. I think. I could be wrong about that. But he's wonderful here. And he proudly wears his US Cavalry blue tunic, his US Cavalry belt, and he was a sergeant, so he's got the huge US Army Cavalry chevrons on each arm. He's a master killer, master tracker, and he just wants a piece of land. Just wants it in Nebraska. That's all he wants, just a piece of land. Everyone keeps relentlessly telling him, no matter how great he served the US government and the US Army, he's got no respect now. Now the war's over. As one of his commanding officers says to him near the start, here, you're one of us. But out there, you're one of them. Meaning the Indians. And he'll have no rights. And he will be picked on and abused all the time. Which is how Cornelia Locke will encounter him. And the two of them will save each other in the first episode. And then they will be drawn together. They'll spend time apart, but they'll get back together again. And they will form the romantic backbone of this saga, which is genuinely heartwarming, very moving, very touching, incredibly well acted. And I find it quite witty. There's an ongoing sort of joke which Cornelia keeps saying to Eli. You don't say much, no need to. You know, you're a man of few words, nothing left to say. You've got this sort of thing going on. Like, it's the man with no name. He doesn't say much. He's the tall, dark, handsome, rugged, heroic, but, pretty much monotone and basically silent stranger. Only he's not, because Eli Whip talks a lot. And that's got to be the sort of the little sly in joke. You're a man of few words. But he won't shut up. Once he opens his mouth, he will not stop. And every single character in this is a frontier poet. The dialogue is wonderful. It can be rich, it can be earthy, it can be bawdy, it can be genuinely heartfelt and star-spun. The constellations play a part in this. Star signs play a part in it. And even the longest sort of moments where you've just got two characters just having a discourse, it's full of such great wordplay and verbiage that it becomes addictive. And I was drawn and completely sucked in to this drama. It is slow. Gonna have to tell you that right now. It is slow, but it has there's lots of action. There's lots of deaths, lots and lots of death and violence, and some of it's pretty nasty, I'll be honest. But the vast majority of this series is told in wonderful cinematography, absolutely dreamy cinematography, and these stretches, these acres of dialogue where you'll discuss gender roles, you'll discuss race, genocide, frontier law, the themes of retribution and revenge, fate, destiny, what drives you on. All of these elements are going to really, really creep in there. And it permeates your bones. It's wonderful. And guess where it's filmed? It's filmed mostly in Spain. As a callback to Almeria and the spaghetti westerns that Sergio Leone and others made out in Spain. Although, when you watch spaghetti westerns, the classics, they don't look anything like America, but you know that, and their visual look is very much apparent and very much part of why you enjoy those movies. And the settings, the locations they filmed in, look like Spain. They do. I've been to mainland Spain. I've been to these places. They look just like that. They don't look like America. But this, and there's a list of places, I looked at locations where they filmed it, and some of it is filmed in America, but there's only, out of the 6 episodes, and I was watching, believe you me, I go, that's Almeria. I recognise that sort of, that scrubland, and those canyons don't look like American canyons, but most of it, 95%, if not more of it, you would never have known. The wide open places, the huge landscape. Wow, what's happened to my words today? This vista, this canvas with the amazing big skies and cloud patterns and the sun and the moon and the stars and this huge open landscape. It's truly breathtaking. But you'd swear to God that it was America, the American frontier land. I'm playing Max Richter's score for Hostiles, the Christian Bale West Studi movie from 2018, I think it was. But I'm going to play you the main theme to the English. Now, the reason why I'm going to play this is it's wonderful. I can't get the full score to it because it hasn't been released yet. But the main theme is by a guy called Federico Jusid, or probably Usid, who's Argentinian, but spends most of his time living in Madrid, Spain. But listen to this. This is pure Ennio Morricone from the Spaghetti Westerns. Just listen to this. The whistling, using the human voice as a musical instrument, as Morricone used to do. the jaw iron going there. You've got weird rattles and percussion. And then, how addictive do you think that is? It's going to get inside your head. It's got a kind of bouncy jaunt to it. But the score for the actual episodes themselves is so beautiful. You get action cues, you get staccato sort of elements, percussive tribal elements to it, but most of it is this sweeping, elegant, absolutely heartbreakingly romantic theme. It's also sort of intercut with some sort of modern day country and western ballads, but they're somber, they're brooding, and they fit the tone of the show perfectly. That's great, isn't it? It's got that sort of jaunt and swagger to it, which, of course, all of Sergio Leone Dollars movies all have in spades. And the opening titles also have that animated style of the Sergio Leone Dollars movies in particular. They're sort of whip-crack-away sort of animatics, and you'll see the characters there in some stylistically iconic shots, which you will see in the movie, but they're just cartoon drawn. Now, if you're going to have great characters, great heroes, you need a great villain. You've got a few in this. You've got a few villains who will be encountered along the way. But your main villain, and I'm going to say it right now, is a guy called David Melmont, and he's played by Timothy Spall's son, Rafe Spall. And he plays it, again, he's an Englishman, he's a Cockney gangster. He's an enforcer, he's a businessman, he's the guy that you have on your side to make sure your plans work. Because if someone's going to double deal you, you're going to unleash him. Only in this, the guy he's employed by does not know the powers that Melmont has. He's far more savage, far more savvy, far more clever and intelligent and cunning than anyone could have reckoned. And he will become a villain you will remember. I swear to God, you will not forget this guy in a hurry. And his reasons for doing what he does are nefarious and very nasty. And the repercussions of what he does are far-reaching. Because this, again, the story, and again, this is no real spoiler here, the story is told in 1890, but we have a lot of flashbacks to like 13, 14 years before, to the end of the Indian Wars and the hunting down of certain Native Americans who were wanted for committing atrocities. Various real life events are mentioned. The Fetterman massacre, where Captain Fetterman led erroneously. He said, "Give me 80 men and I'll ride with the Sioux Nation." Well, he tried that with 88 men and they were massacred and mutilated. And this was several years before Custer's Last Stand, which they do briefly mention. They talk about what happened to Fetterman. It was a few years before the Big Horn, meaning Custer's Last Stand. And people want revenge for what happened there, but you're going to have many whites committing atrocities to Cheyenne, Pawnee, Arapaho, Sioux in this. It's horrible. A lot of it is genuinely horrible. But you're also going to meet, and I'm going to say this now, because I almost recognised it, but I had to look at who played this particular character. And when I realised who it was, I literally would have fallen off my chair had I actually been sitting in a chair at the time. But what's her name? I wrote it down. Nicola McAuliffe. Nicola McAuliffe, if you don't know, was in I think it was a short-lived medical comedy during the 80s called Surgical Practice. And she played, I think, a Greek or a Cypriot surgeon, I think called Dr. Sabatini, I think her name was. And I thought, even though the character she plays okay, I'm going to be a slight spoiler here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Is Harridan bitch called Black Eyed Mog wears all that sort of old sort of, like almost like a nun's sort of habit with a veil on. She has these, and a little bonnet, has these sort of steampunk goggles, and she has two sons, and they're bushwhackers. There's a lot of bushwhacking taking place in this, but when she takes those off, her eyes bug out like something from a cartoon because she's had her eyelids removed, and we find out that she's been scalped as well, and she's on a massive vengeance spree to kill any redskin who's foolish enough to cross her path. She takes their scalps, and she'll have fun doing it, and she'll torture them beforehand, as we will find out. But she's not in it much. But this character, I thought, is that? No, it can't be. I mean, especially when you just got this great prosthetic effect of no eyelids and all the scarring around, and then you see the scalp that's been peeled off as well. You're like, oh my god. Emily Blunt is outstanding. You genuinely feel for her plight, and you also understand that she's learning as she goes. She's learning from Eli Whip and their partnership. She's learning about frontier life. She's in a bit of a crash course in it. She can ride. She's also great with the bow and arrow, because in reality, she was one of the rich, one of the wealthy in England. She was a landowner, and their pastime during the 18th century was archery. So she's actually good with the bow and arrow, and she can wield a Winchester 73 pretty well. Her relationship with Eli is, as I said before, very touching, very humanistic. Initially, kind of stark. He doesn't really want to help her out, and he's got, I understand what you got to do. I understand why you got to do it, but I've been there before, and I ain't going back. He means revenge. I'm not doing this. But he will, and their paths, even though they may part a couple of times, they will be inextricably linked together again. And the events of the past will come back to haunt all of these disparate characters, because they're all connected in ways that none of them could ever have believed, but they're all connected. And I thought this whole thing worked outstandingly well. For me, I knew Emily Blunt could act, knew all that, but Cheske Spencer, oh my god, the iconic look, wearing, you see him sometimes in his tribal normal attire, but when he's proud, we know what you've done. You got your coin from the US Army. How does that make you feel? You go out there, you've been killing your own. Don't mean nothing to me, And he's got his reasons for doing what he does, and you get it. But he's proud of wearing the blue tunic and proud of the rank that he achieved. I love seeing him in that. It looks so good. Very often when I'm strutting around the kilted realm here, okay, I've got a kilt on, but I'm wearing US cavalry gear as well. But I've often got Indian feathers in my hair. There's eagle feathers here, courtesy of my good mate Stevie Doherty, and there's Lakota Sioux hawk feathers here, being sported by my young frontiersman here, Mr. Kentucky Fudge. So I sit on that saddle with one leg on the Indian side and one leg on the US cavalry side. I've discussed it a lot, my reasons for that kind of, what you might think be contradictory, but for me, the two mesh and gel together. Who else is in it? You've got Stephen Ray is in it. Very Irish actor Stephen Ray. You've got Irishman, you've got Scotsman in here as well. You've got all sorts, and a lot of English, hence the title, The English, because it's the English who forced all these issues. Everything that's set in motion here in this drama is caused by the bloody English. And you've got you have got a descendant of the Scots from Strathaven, who he's got no love of the English at all, and he's got a fantastic buffalo gun, which, well, he'll put that to use, and we'll see a tremendously tense set piece involving him and our heroes. But the English do seem to conspire to cause so much damage, as indeed they have around the world. I'm not bringing modern day politics into it, but things haven't really changed. English just keep sticking their oar in and doing stuff, But in this, you get to see how a nation was forged because of the intervention and the arrival of, well, the English and many other races, and how the American frontier was tamed by the use of genocide. Wipe out the buffalo, starve your enemy. This theme runs a lot of the way through this show. You've also got, I was going to say, Stephen Ray plays an Irish sheriff. He's called Sheriff Marshall. At first I was like, well, is he a sheriff and a marshal? Is it? Or is it? It's got to be another joke. He's Sheriff Marshall. You've got in the first episode, you have two great actors, Ciarán Hinds and Toby Jones. Toby Jones is wonderful, and his American accent, his frontier, chewing sagebrush accent, it's fantastic. It's impeccable. And again, the bond that these characters forge with our main two characters is priceless. Maybe for good, maybe for bad. But don't expect either Ciarán Hinds or Toby Jones to last too long. Oh no, Kilt-Man, will you stop dropping spoilers left, right and centre? I apologise, folks. Wonderful score, amazing cinematography, fabulous direction, absolutely stupendous performances, and a real, rich, detailed evocation of this bygone time. And if you love westerns, you right thrust into the middle of this, and you'll get a good kick out of it. So I do recommend it. It's been on the BBC already. It's either on Amazon Prime now, or it's coming in the next few days. So you've got every chance to watch it. Only 6 episodes, and they're around about the 49, maybe 51, 52 minutes sort of mark. I think a couple might run over an hour, but it goes by. Even though it's slow, and you've got lots of revisiting of other characters and a bit of toing and froing between the present, 1890, and the past, like 13, 14 years prior. But it all majestically comes together, and it has one of the most haunting, beautiful conclusions that I've seen. Now, I know some people will not be satisfied with how this does end, but I like it. I think it hits that tragic, destiny-driven sort of right note. It's unavoidable. People have got to they've got to go their certain paths. They've got to do something, but this love will last till the end of time, and I absolutely find that irresistible. I have rewatched some episodes, but not the entire season. But I will. It's coming out on Blu-ray as well in December, so only a few weeks off, and I'm going to get it. I think it's wonderful. So, guys, I can do nothing but recommend this, and I really tried not to give too many sort of spoilers there. I will say this: there's a wonderful use of a Gatling gun. I don't think you've ever seen a Gatling gun used in this way. That's all I'll say. But you have to wait till the final episode to find out just what I mean. But it's incredibly good. And I was like, what? Really? Well, it's not rude either. Don't go thinking that. So folks, there you go. There's a sort of overview and spoiler-free, largely, review of The English, which I think is going to go down exceptionally well. I've only seen a couple of reviews of the show so far, and there's probably lots out there, but everyone does seem to be singing its praises. It's immaculately staged and produced, and it looks and sounds fabulous. There you go, folks. I have been always Shabby Kilt-Man. I will be back with more reviews, and I will be back with the big tribute to my mum. You haven't got to watch that, but I've got to do it. It's part of me. I have to do it. Did it for my dad, so I'll do it for my mum as well. So folks, I have been, always shall be, at your service. So please, in the meantime, in this ever dusty, back-breaking, frontier, law-breaking, in-between time, please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all. And I just hope they release the full score for the English. They're bound to do it. If they're going to bring it out on Blue, they're going to do the score as well. Please, please, I want more of this. Wonderful stuff.